Okay, so what we're going to add to part 17 is some timer functions. Now, I'm not entirely convinced that it's relevant to have the 10-second shot clock and the half-hour time frame for this, because the dynamics of moving the pieces around on the virtual lawn are a bit different to what happens in normal gateball play. But for puzzles, it's good, certainly good to know how long there is to go, and you can also tweak the values. We could maybe have a longer game, shorter time, longer time between shots. And look, it's good just to have the functionality in there so that when you alter this, you can play it around to how you want it to be. So fundamentally, we've got this shot clock, which is set to 10 seconds, and a main timer, which obviously would normally be set to half an hour. And what we're going to do to make that happen is have two scripts, a regular timer script, which will control the just the flow of time in the game, and a shot clock timer, which will switch on every time a new player is due to have their turn. So the timer consists of one major variable, which is the time elapsed, which is just the number of seconds that are ticking by, and whether or not the time is being decreased is going to depend on the value of this bool. So if timer is running, then we'll be getting a decrease in the time, and if it isn't running, then it will just stay static. And it will be displayed using this text mesh pro field, which is obviously this field, this item here. Now, in order to display time, because time is going to be counted in seconds, we need to convert it to minutes and seconds. So we need to do a little bit of mathematics to get to convert a few thousand seconds into minutes and seconds. And the way that that will happen is that we'll have this display time function here. So whatever time in seconds is coming in, we will work out how many minutes that is by taking the mod of taking the number that results from the division of the seconds by 60. And if we're thinking about hours as well, we might need to do that again. But with the seconds is just the remainder, which is basically the mod 60 of the total seconds. And then we need to format that properly. So we need to have this special way of showing the minutes and seconds with this formatting the string. We'll switch on the timer with this simple toggle. If the timer is running, then and we activate this function, then make it false and vice versa. And basically, if timer is running, then during update, then the time elapsed will tick down. So we've got this minus equals time delta time happening. With every time that happens, we pass the result to the display time function. At the beginning, we're going to make the time elapsed equal to 1800, which is 30 minutes, and we'll basically then leave that to the mercy of the toggle pause function to decide whether or not that's going to decrease. Now, the other thing that we've got here are these functions which will set game time, and they'll be controlled by this slider here. So as we move the slider up and down, we can make the timer give us a longer game than 30 minutes or a shorter game than 30 minutes. And of course, that shorter game is useful if you are setting a puzzle and you want to say, look, there's 8 minutes left, here's the situation. So when we press play, what we should see is that the clock will go to 30, 30 minutes because that's the time elapsed. So there it is. And under normal circumstances, it just stays there until we hit this button, which activates the toggle pause thing. So if I do that, we're now counting down. If I press this button here, it will reset to the, hopefully, yeah, to 30 minutes. And if I click on a player, then what will also, what will happen if I click on a player is that the shot clock will start to decrease as well. So let's have a look at that shot clock. It works pretty much the same as the main timer, in that whenever it starts, it's going to start with 10 seconds on the clock, and it's always going to update the time elapsed, and format it in a nice way. And it starts and stops in a very similar way to the normal clock. The major difference, of course, is that the starting of this is called from the Stroke Manager script. So the major difference that we've put into the Stroke Manager script is that when you select a new striker, one of the things that will happen is that you restart the shot clock. So you say, is the timer running? And if it is, then restart the shot clock to the time of the shot clock, and then get it rolling. You'll notice the other thing that I've put in here is that when we select a new striker, we automatically choose the camera striker to target function, which immediately aligns the player with the shot that they want to, the view that they've got towards the target. And that I think is a nice touch. So when we choose a new player, number 5, the shot clock immediately goes to 10. It starts counting down, and then we play the shot, and then it's time for a new player to play. So that starts to 10 as well. Now, the way that you want to play this is, you might want to change that. It's up to you. You might want to leave a pause between the selection of a new player and the starting of the shot clock. You can also change the shot clock by altering this menu here. So now I've made it so that the shot clock is a lot longer. So the shot clock can be, I've made it so that this slider here will go up to 30 seconds. So we've now got a shot clock of 30 seconds. And perhaps that's more realistic when you're learning the controls of the game, because you obviously want it so that you're not running down the shot clock all the time. So that was pretty good. The next one I'll play, the shot clock has taken just 6 seconds or so to play that shot. So I think it's about titrating the amount of time that you put on the shot clock. You'll also notice that I've actually used 2 different methods to take input from those 2 different sliders. So we've got the game time slider here, and we've got the shot clock slider. Now the shot clock slider is working in is calling a slightly different thing to the shot clock slider. So the game time slider, let's just bring that up. The game time one, the slider is controlling this function here, show selected game time. It's changing the text that's on the bottom of the slider to reflect what the game time is. And whenever we set game time, then we're setting the time elapsed to that value of the slider. In the shot clock, then the slider is actually controlling the reset shot clock function, and it's making the time elapsed equal to the shot clock value, the slider value in a in a more dynamic way. So as I slide that, you can see the number on the shot clock is changing dynamically. I'm not changing some value down here. So just two different ways of implementing it. Um, and you might choose one way over the other. The final thing to notice is that we've been left with this sort of vestigial graphic camera down here, this thing that we called camera mini. And the aim was that we would actually use that camera to fly around the two-dimensional lawn and show the vision on the camera here, on the video screen here. I think that we probably won't do that now, but I might just leave it there just in case we do, so I can show you how I would implement that. But otherwise, I think we've got to a stage where we've got something that's reasonably playable. We've got the ability to shoot the balls towards the target. We've got the ability to play as sparks. We've got the ability to put the balls out if they go out. We've got the ability to score hoops. We've got the ability to keep time. I think we're pretty good. We can we can even we can even play, turn this aim line on and off as well. So I think there's probably some bugs in here that need a bit of sorting out, some little situations which would arise that would mean some tightening up of some of the functions. But otherwise, I think this is actually now a reasonably functional program for exploring different scenarios. So setting up a scenario and playing it. I guess one thing we haven't done is save a scenario, and that's something that we might look at in a future little treatment. Okay.